I know so many divine feminines are confused about the divine masculine and why they're not healing or why they're not stepping into their healing yet. This, what I'm about to play for you guys, is the best podcast I have ever heard, hands down, on this topic. It's Dr. Jeremy Goldberg and Trevor Boehm as his guest. And I'm actually going to do a two-parter on this, so make sure you go listen to the second part. If the first part sounded interesting, the second part is going to be about 7 minutes, but you guys, this is so worth it. And if you want to find the podcast, look up A Long Distance Love Bombs and go back to I think it was October 2019 and look for Trevor Boehm and play that episode. Here you go.
Human nature is we don't like being told what to do.
I do not like being told what to do.
Fuck that.
I'm excellent at not being told what to do.
But if you can convince me that it's my idea to do that thing, now we're talking.
Because guess who has really good ideas?
Me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then we're jamming. But I think another aspect of human nature is how do you make somebody do something they don't want to do? Well, there's rewards and there's consequences.
Exactly.
Right? At a very fundamental level. We want to do more good, less bad. So, I don't know. I almost take a very hard tack with some people sometimes. Yeah, you should leave your husband. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should move out for a month. Mm-hmm. You should actually have a boundary of some kind and defend that and honor that. Because I feel from my experience and a bunch of dudes that I know, we learned the hard way.
Yeah, I did.
We got to go to rock bottom.
Yeah.
Steph described it as having his face dragged on the concrete of rock bottom for a while.
Right.
Before he learned.
Right.
And I resonate with that.
Yeah. I asked Leela this question. This was forever. Mm-hmm. I would have women ask, why do guys need to be left? Why do we have to hit rock bottom? And I remember I was walking with Leela in Costa Rica, and she goes, it's really simple. Everything happens in relation to something else. From cellularly to the rest of our lives, everything happens with friction in relation to something else. So if there's it goes back to the consequences. So if there's just behavior, but it's not frictionless, it's not in relationship to this pain or in relationship to this heavy set of consequences, it won't react accordingly.
Right.
I was oh, that's fucking genius.
This shit's not for the faint of heart.
Mm-mm.
I mean, you can continue to suffer silently, or you can have some courage and try something different. And I teased at the beginning about the uncertainty and the unknown. Mm-hmm. But this shit's hard.
It's super hard.
Especially to take your first step into the unknown, to meditate for the first time, or to hire a coach for the first time, to go on a retreat for the first time, etc. Mm-hmm. But everything's hard the first time.
Right.
This isn't all lollipops and bunnies. Right?
That's on the back of a t-shirt soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't all lollipops and bunnies.
No way.
Yeah, I'm going to start saying that in public. Hey, you.
Hey.
This isn't all lollipops and bunnies there, mister.
I mean, man. Vulnerability is not all lollipops and bunnies.
Brilliant.
But vulnerability is leadership.
100%.
But so the second thing you said was, what are your wounds? What are you doing about them?
What are you doing to heal them?
Do you want to unpack that
for
a minute?
Especially for men, we are not, and this is a bold statement, but I'll say it.
Go on.
We are not safe until we've dealt with our wounds. So think about that. The tip of the iceberg is our behavior. Everything underwater is our trauma, our wounds, our past, and our background. And because so few of us have dove into that, looking in the shadow, looking at what happened to us, dealing with trauma. And I'm talking a capital T trauma and little t trauma. We will not be safe. You will not be fucking safe out there in the world, in your partnership, as a father, as a husband, as a brother, as an employee, until you've looked at that. Because at some point, that shit's gonna get triggered. And here's the challenge with men. We're too goddamn big, strong, fast, and aggressive and violent when we are triggered. That's the fucking problem. That's what I see in the landscape of the world now. Oh, you have a bunch of people who are traumatized, and they happen to be bigger than everybody else. They happen to be stronger than than the other half of the planet. They happen to be more armed, unless you're in Canada, where they won't let you bring a gun. Just feel naked and weird. But
And awesome.
and awful. Huh, what if someone broke in right now? What would we do? Anyway.
But even saying some element of safety is simple trust,
For sure.
right? So if you can't trust your partner,
Right.
because he can't trust himself,
Right.
then how can you feel safe ever?
Right. And,
Right.
and absolutely. And how
It doesn't
can a
have
guy...
to be violence and guns.
No,
and all
no,
that
no,
shit.
no.
It can be
Anything.
like, I don't trust him.
Right.
There's something about him that's slippery.
Because he hasn't looked at it.
Right.
Right. So the way I started describing it recently is like, it's like having a gun in your back pocket, to go back to guns, and telling everybody like, I don't have one.
Yeah.
I don't have it. And everyone's like, what's the gun like bulge in your, kind of the shape of the gun? And, and you're like, no, I'm good.
But the metal detector went off, and you told me earlier that you sometimes.
I'm
carry-
fine, Jeremy. I don't have a gun.
But I think that you're. Why won't you?
End of discussion.
Okay.
Stop being crazy.
Uh,
Oh, we use this word. So people are gonna get mad.
You're gonna generate some.
But
emails.
that's what guys say,
Totally.
right? And so
I'm fine.
Don't be crazy.
The other
Let me
thing
gaslight.
The other thing I've noticed too is like when people are genuinely fine and happy and like
Mhm.
well to do, like when they're okay, like how many of those people do you ever hear this? Like, I'm so fine. I'm totally fine. Everything's great. I'm so happy. Right? I'm happy. I'm totally happy.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Don't
Everything's
ask me
fine.
again.
Like when you're really fine,
Yeah.
nobody does that.
Yeah. When
Right.
you're really great, you don't shut the fuck up either. It's not like, hey, I've told you enough times how happy I am.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to talk about how great my life is anymore.
Yeah.
I want to eat pasta.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just
Bunnies and rainbows.
bunnies and lollipops, I think it was. So
Yeah. Bring us
until
back.
guys have unpacked that,
Yeah.
then we don't provide the level of safety that we want to. And again, I think it goes back to showing someone something they may not have seen before. When you can say to a guy, do you want to be safe for your partner? Do you want to be safe for your kids? Do you want to be really safe in the world? Then you have to do this work. You actually have to. And then here's the juice. I watched this like a month ago, man. I was in this workshop in Oregon, and it was 4 men and 4 women. And I watched as the guys did like the awful crying on the floor, like talking about the worst shit that ever happened to us, the horrible stuff we never want to do, like snot everywhere. I watched the women relax. And I watched one of them relax to the point where she actually said, I'm sorry, this is too upsetting. I'm so not used to being this relaxed. I need help processing it. I've never been around guys who speak and act like this. I feel so safe, it's fucking me up. And that was like a head, my head actually twisted all the way around. It was like, oh. And one of the things she added was, I've never felt this safe in the world. I've never felt this safe in a partnership. I've never felt this safe in a marriage. And the mind fuck was, we were talking about shit that was super traumatizing and all the things that we did because of it. Like, oh, you jerk off to porn 5 times a day because of this trauma. And here you are telling a group of women, here's my trauma, here's what here's how I act poorly or behave poorly because of it, blah, getting it all out and working through it, and them going, internally, I can actually relax, I feel safe, I trust you. Mind fuck.
Because I see you.
I see you.
I see the real you.
And because what we literally did was turn around and be like, see the gun in the back pocket? Yeah, it's right there. Can
It's
you see it now?
silver. I'm so tired of carrying it around. Do you want to hold it for a minute?
Or we'll just throw it out.
We don't even need this
We
anymore.
don't need it.
Yeah.
That idea is something that I deeply want to get to men, because I do know so many guys, Jeremy, that have the protector archetype, who have the provider archetype. They're like, yeah, I want the world to be safer because of me. Like, I want to be not only just one of the guys on the bridge taking down the terrorists, but I want to be the guy lying in bed next to my partner and have him or her energetically sense how integral I am, how much work I've done, and how aligned I am, and how safe I am. That, I think, is the gift that we're not really talking about. The guys aren't. Like, I'm not sitting there at a group full of dudes watching football being like, hey, you guys processed your trauma? Because, you can really, really make your partner feel safe.
Yeah.
And when you do, you're going to get laid a lot more. And the challenge, that like conversation you're going to have a Monday at the therapist because she said she's going to leave, that's going to go away.
It's not even that bad.
It's not even that bad. Wow. Oh. So if we go back to root and branch, that's one of the main roots. So those two are fucking massive. They're absolutely massive. But that second one has got me all fired up recently because I got to feel it. Like I told those women a month ago, I could have written you a beautiful 5-page paragraph on safety and trust. And today I actually felt what it was like to watch you guys relax in our presence.